CTV News with Lauren Stallone.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. We begin tonight in Owen Sound, where 3 men have pleaded guilty for their roles in a deadly attack on a local restaurant owner 3 years ago. It took more than a year for police officers to find the men responsible. With more, here's Mike Arsledy.
Robert Evans Jr., his father Robert Sr., and uncle Barry Evans have pleaded guilty to manslaughter and being accessories after the fact in the killing of Sharif Rahman on the night of August 17, 2023, when the Owen Sound restaurant owner was punched while trying to stop Evans Jr. from skipping out on a bill. Evans Jr. was 23 at the time and in Ontario paving driveways with his father and uncle. His uncle was with Evans Jr. that night when the group racked up a $100 dinner bill and tried to run without paying. Rahman, the court heard, confronted and pushed Evans Jr., who admitted to then punching Rahman outside his restaurant. The single punch knocked Rahman down with his head striking the sidewalk. Rahman died in hospital days later from a fractured skull and brain bleed. He is survived by his wife and young daughter. As part of an agreed statement of facts read by the Crown, the court heard Evans Jr. was helped by his uncle to flee. Barry Evans admitted to then returning to their motel in town, erasing any trace they were staying in the area. The court heard the men reached out to Evans Sr. to buy a plane ticket back to the UK for his son the next day. The plea deal, which included a joint submission from the Crown and defense of 21 months, put Evans Sr. and his brother in a time-served position, meaning they already served their sentence and now await deportation to the UK. Their lawyers read letters to the court on behalf of their clients apologizing for their actions, calling what happened to Rahman a nightmare they will have to live with for the rest of their lives. The court heard the plea deal was reached after considering all the evidence, noting triable issues that included whether Evans Jr. killed Rahman in self-defense. Both sides asking the judge to consider sentencing Robert Evans Jr. to 42 months behind bars, less time served in pre-sentence custody, leaving him with about 8 more months before he too is deported. Evans Jr. personally read his letter to the court, calling Rahman a good, respected family man. "This never should have happened. I didn't mean for him to die. I am sickened by the damage I have caused. I pray every day for his family. I understand if I am never forgiven. I am truly, truly sorry." Evans Jr. is scheduled to be sentenced in early July. Mike Arsledy, CTV News, Owen Sound.
Here in London, an elderly man was found guilty of assaulting a Muslim woman wearing a hijab. 81-year-old James Henkel was convicted on 6 counts, including assault with a weapon and mischief. The incident involved multiple women who were confronted near Wonderland and Springbank back in September 2024. The man reportedly brandished a knife before leaving the scene. A sentencing hearing is now scheduled for August. Local firefighters are preaching caution in the midst of a dry spell that's lasted more than a week. Their message is to keep an eye on changing conditions if you plan on having a fire this weekend. With more, here's Brian Bicknell.
This is what it looks like in northern Ontario as wildfires have forced evacuations of communities near Timmins. While it may seem out of reach, Strathroy-Caradoc Fire Prevention Officer Jason Chabot says it could easily happen in southern Ontario.
When there's been no moisture, it's very dry. The ground is hard. According to the Canadian Wildfire Information System, much of southern Ontario is now in the extreme category for fire danger. With recent developments in the weather and it being so dry, they're probably going to be seeing a burn ban here shortly. Chabot says this means anyone planning a backyard or campfire should take caution and heed local fire bans. So if you are having that fire and it is allowed, you want to make sure that you have a way to extinguish that fire with you. You want to make sure you're always watching that fire. The fire is small and contained inside of a pit of some description. If you're starting a fresh fire on a surface at a campsite, you want to make sure it's scraped down to the basic raw ground earth. He says the same goes for controlled fires at farms. Just days ago, crews found themselves fighting this field fire near Appin. A field fire will run hundreds of acres very quickly and it gets out of control in seconds because the dryness just allows that fire to continue to go. A lot of times it is an uncontrolled burn or someone has a recreational burn that hasn't been properly extinguished or they've turned their back and the wind's picked up an ash and an amber and moved moved it into a field.
While each municipality has specific burn rules, in many areas only certain materials such as grass, leaves, wood, and brush can be burned without a permit. Brian Bicknell, CTV News, Strathroy-Caradoc.
The provincial NDP leader was joined by local MPPs today at Queen's Park, announcing anti-hate legislation ahead of the 5th anniversary of the Offsall family attack.
MPP Sattler and MPP Kernahan, who represent London, have seen what Islamophobia can do not only to those who are targeted, but the impact it can have on an entire community. We have to talk about Islamophobia. We can't be afraid to say the word. It is the job of everyone in Ontario to make sure that our neighbours, no matter their faith or background, feel safe in our communities.
The legislation focuses on education meant to prevent hate-based violence. Officials say this should help young people understand cultural and religious differences among their peers.
Hatred is not something children are born with. It's something that they learn. And if hate can be learned, then respect, understanding, and belonging can be taught. The person who acts on hate may do so because of political beliefs, misinformation, prejudice, or fear. But standing against hate is not partisan. It's a responsibility that belongs to all of us.
London police say they've laid charges after a standoff in the city's south end last night. According to police, officers were called to Ferndale Avenue just after 6 p.m. for a man reportedly making threats. They say they negotiated with the suspect for more than an hour before he was arrested. Police say his charges include uttering threats and assaulting a peace officer, and no injuries were reported. City staff are providing a progress report on the $500,000 plan to fix up one of London's newest public housing buildings, which has quickly earned a reputation as one of the city's worst. With more on the update, here's Daryl Newcomb.
Only a few years after opening, the troubled public housing building at 122 Baseline Road is already undergoing a $500,000 restoration and security upgrade, and residents are noticing the improvements.
You're walking into the building and it was covered in graffiti and rudeness. And I don't think anyone wants to live like that.
Last year, a scathing audit report determined that the building was designed to offer affordable housing, but was instead filled with a dangerous mix of tenants, including the recently homeless, individuals with addiction or mental health issues, and women escaping violence along with their children. It triggered sweeping citywide changes to how public housing units are assigned, and council approved a $500,000 plan to improve safety.
What we're seeing is progress that's trending in the right direction. Improvements are happening. The building's getting safer.
A progress report by city staff suggests the investment is resulting in fewer security incidents. First quarter 2026 data reflects a major operational improvement, with overall incident volumes declining by approximately 47% compared to the fourth quarter of 2025. That substantial improvement does have to be put in a bit of context. It's compared to a period of time late last year when there was actually a spike in problematic incidents. A memo from London Middlesex Community Housing explains fourth quarter 2025 saw a sharp escalation in trespassing and access control incidents, increasing by approximately 166% over the third quarter.
Spike we see in the fourth quarter happens at every LMCH building right across the city. It's not unique to 122 Baseline. As winter comes along and people start letting others in, or people are followed into the building.
The LMCH memo also suggests efforts to relocate tenants who are responsible for many of the security problems will also take more time. After several refused voluntary relocation to more appropriate, highly supportive housing.
The tenants have legal leases. We can't force them to move until we go through the Residential Tenancies Act and the Landlord-Tenant Board processes that would require eviction. So we try to work with them first to get voluntary compliance.
A council committee will consider the progress report on June 8th. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
Local doctors are touting the success of pop-up cervical cancer screenings, helping hundreds of people access preventative care, many of whom they say don't have a family doctor. With more on the program's impact 2 years in, here's Rita Ismail.
Pop-up cervical screening clinics at St. Joseph's Healthcare and London Health Sciences Centre have been a success, a sign doctors say that many residents are struggling to access routine health care.
So we're trying to break down barriers to screening. One of those barriers being the inability for people to see a family doctor, get in to see their family doctor, and many people don't even have a family doctor.
Since the first clinic launched in January of 2024, 7 pop-up events have been held and nearly 700 people have been screened. Doctors say screening remains one of the most effective ways to prevent cervical cancer.
By providing this particular service, I think we're at least trying to get people screened, because we do know that screening is one of the most effective ways of preventing particularly cervical cancer from developing.
The clinics now use Ontario's new HPV-based cervical screening test, introduced last year to replace the traditional Pap test.
We've modified the cervical screening test to look specifically for evidence of HPV or human papillomavirus exposure. That is the biggest risk factor for developing a cancer of the cervix.
So far, about 5% of patients screened have shown abnormalities requiring follow-up care. The clinic, now called Pop-Up Cervical Check, is open to people aged 25 and older who haven't had a cervical screening within the past 3 years. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
When we come back, it's a wild goose chase, how porch geese are taking over New Brunswick. A day to forget for both markets on both sides of the border. The TSX plunged over 800 points, losing over 2% of its value, while on Wall Street, the Dow shed almost 700 and the Nasdaq lost over 1,100 or 4%. The dollar lost 0.14 of a cent. Gold was down $140 an ounce, and oil fell $2.50 a barrel. There's been some recent relief in gas prices for drivers, but when it comes to diesel, costs are rising higher in many parts of the country. With more, here's Paul Hollingsworth.
Kevin Nickerson says he's paying too much for fuel, and not just when he fills up his truck.
Hot water even, so all summer we're burning. So the price of home oil and everything.
According to fuel analyst Dan McTagg, the war with Iran continues to put a pinch on diesel markets, causing supply and demand pressures.
It means that diesel, which is the global workhorse for all fuel, is going to remain high.
This tourism executive says the season is off to a good start, but he's bracing for the possible long-term effects of rising jet fuel costs being passed on to travelers.
That would, in time, potentially discourage people from wanting to continue to travel here.
As food gets shipped across Canada, diesel prices are being absorbed by trucking companies and grocery stores, resulting in some food becoming more expensive.
Diesel is impacting the P&P at the grocery store, protein and produce.
Shopper Noriko Ewing says she has no choice but to pay more for the groceries her family needs.
So we need it, so we buy it, even expensive.
According to Sylvain Charlebois, the cost of food being impacted by diesel prices varies across the country. Some remote areas like the prairies or here in the Maritimes are being hit with bigger price increases compared to other places. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Halifax.
A warning for anyone planning a European vacation this summer: expect delays. That's because of a new entry system being rolled out at border crossings across the continent. With more, here's Pat Foran.
Europe is a favorite destination for travel, and this summer will be even busier than usual. Bookings to Italy, Ireland, Greece, Switzerland, and Spain are all up substantially over last year. A video of the Lisbon airport in Portugal a week ago went viral when it showed lineups that were hours long.
It is quite honestly astonishing and testimony to just what a disaster these new EES rules are.
Canadians shouldn't be worried. They should be prepared.
Flight Centre is trying to warn Canadians that because of the new entry-exit system in Europe, they may face delays.
They will now have their fingerprints and photos taken digitally, and it essentially will replace the old passport stamp that we're used to on our passports.
Travel experts say if you're flying in or out of European destinations, you'll need to budget hours of extra time at airports.
It's always crazy during this time of year, but then you add in that new entry-exit system and gathering all of those new biometrics, and it is just taking people a lot longer.
And it's not just flying, it's any mode of transportation in or out of Europe.
It's affecting all border crossings in any form, whether it's by cruise ship or by land or by airport.
Recommendations if you're traveling to Europe: arrive much earlier, especially for intra-Europe flights. Keep passports and travel documents easily accessible. Monitor airline apps for updates. Consider flexible fares where possible, and register with Canada's Registration of Canadians Abroad Service. While the new system is expected to make travel faster in the future, for now there will be growing pains as the system rolls out.
I would be making sure that I build in some extra time at any of those European airports.
Experts say don't let the Lisbon airport video worry you too much, as it's known to have some of the longest lineups of any European airports, and others should be much better. Pat Foran, CTV News.
Hello, I'm meteorologist Gary Archibald for CTV News. We are looking at a warm, humid, and potentially very active next 24 hours because of this front. And showers and thunderstorms combination with gusty winds. The story through the overnight into your Saturday morning. It will also feel humid. We've been most comfortable of late, and that streak comes to an end. We'll talk about the weekend, the potential of seeing even more rain into next week. It's coming up with my complete forecast next here on CTV News.
Gary is here now with a detailed look at your weekend forecast. Gary?
Lauren, I think the weekend is going to be a bit of a mixed bag. Saturday, stormy potentially through the early morning, pre-dawn, in fact. Gusty winds, humid, so that temperatures are going to feel 5, maybe 6 degrees warmer than the actual ambient temperature in the afternoon when we reach highs close to about 3 or 4 p.m. More on that in just a moment. Today, unofficially 29. Some areas, the weather stations by amateurs reporting in of close to about 30, 31. So it really depends on where you were within the city limits. The bottom line, it was a warm day, warmer than seasonal. So what's going on in terms of the big picture? Let's talk about how it's all unfolding. Average highs 23, but we're going to see a good flow of warm air, keeping things in the 20s, even towards midnight, close to about 22, 23. But once the front pushes through colder air and behind it, temperatures will drop tomorrow for daytime highs, but still be above seasonal. Rain along this front. Already seen some of that. Thunderstorm potential in behind it. Second and third wave potential is likely, as computer models suggest. The rain, well, it started in extreme southwestern Ontario. It's pushing east towards the Golden Horseshoe. And along the way, I think thunderstorm potential probably is worst along the shores of Lake Huron, Sarnia, towards Goderich, Grand Bend caught in the middle. The overnight temperatures are quite mild. Average overnight temperature at this time of the year is closer to 12, 13. Will be close to 20. And it will feel like about 25 through the overnight. Cloudy tonight, cloudy tomorrow morning, showery, and thunderstorm potential also tomorrow and even in the afternoon. So we're going to see it tonight, early tomorrow morning, and then a bit of a break through the midday and potentially again in the afternoon. It is also a windy day, and 26 could feel like about 30 to 32. Sunday, a nice break, sunshine, and a bit more comfort in the air. 27, looking at temperatures around 29 on a sunny Monday, and then between 29 and 30 through Tuesday all the way through to Friday. Showery through the midweek, though. Midwest, similar looking forecast. Stormy tonight, potentially. Windy, humid. 24 feels like 29. Close to about 3 or 4 o'clock in Goderich, for example. Sunny on Sunday and Monday, warming up. upper 20s, and then about close to an average of 28, with more showers on the way Tuesday through to Friday of next week. That is how things are shaping up. The umbrella, if you can believe it, will be in use. Keep it nearby for next week. Lauren?
Thanks, Gary. 2 Canadian filmmakers are part of a groundbreaking robotic mission capturing footage of species that are almost never seen. Their mission shedding light on what's hidden below. Adrian Gabriel reports.
Off the picturesque shore of Michigan's Upper Peninsula sits the largest of the Great Lakes. Lake Superior's surface spans more than 82,000 square kilometers. CTV News has been invited to plunge to historic depths with 2 Canadian cinematographers documenting the world beneath this expansive blue canvas.
That has been visited only once before in 1985, 1986.
As the shoreline disappears, the journey on the horizon comes into focus.
We're currently heading 50 kilometers offshore towards the deepest point in the entire Great Lakes system. Our destination is an underwater mountain called Big Reef.
Traveling with us is this state-of-the-art underwater drone. This is the only camera of its kind capturing marine life in the Great Lakes.
So it can move in any direction, just like a fish. So when we see a fish, we can kind of get in close to it and become part of the school.
All right, let's do it.
Our initial descent into the deep doesn't disappoint.
We got something interesting down here.
It's our first glimpse of a native Siskiwet lake trout. Superior is the only Great Lake where they're still found.
The Great Lakes are our Serengeti, and the lake trout are the top predators in those lakes. And the Siskiwet have evolved and held on for thousands of years.
The underwater giants use their large eyes to navigate the dark, deep blue waters. There's also redfin trout who use the current created by underwater mountains to soar through the depths. As the camera is pulled out of the frigid water, we move on to our next destination.
We've arrived at the deepest point of Lake Superior for what will be the furthest an underwater drone has ever traveled into the Great Lakes.
We're about to do the deepest dive we've ever done. We're well past 300 now, 308 meters.
The drone reaches 364 meters, uncovering the rarely seen deep water sculpin. The deep dive also showcases boulders below that share a resemblance to the famous pictured rocks that soar high above the water nearby.
It feels amazing to be down here, really to have the privilege to be able to do this.
The crew are just beginning a 2-year journey into the abyss for their upcoming documentary titled Hidden Below the Great Lakes.
There's nothing more magical than getting to see what's under the waves out here.
A picture-perfect perspective bridging humanity's understanding of a freshwater ecosystem seldom witnessed before. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Munising, Michigan.
We're 1 week out from Canada's opening match at the FIFA World Cup. In Toronto, officials say they expect upwards of 1 million international visitors for the event, which runs until July 19th.
Our plan addresses the downtown, what we call the last mile to the stadium, the final walking path to Toronto Stadium, where you'll find enhanced amenities such as additional washrooms, free bike valet, bike share availability, designated ride share zones, volunteers to assist visitors and answer questions, and a welcoming stadium entrance at Princess Gate.
Officials also confirmed Toronto's Fan Festival venue is ready, where events and screenings will be held. Transit authorities recommend planning ahead for anyone visiting the city. Toronto is hosting 6 matches, while 7 will be played in Vancouver.
CTV News London has a newsletter helping you start your day with the latest local headlines. By signing up, you'll get local news content from CTV London direct to your inbox, including top stories, the forecast, and videos. You can sign up at ctvnewslondon.ca.
Scientists are celebrating some amazing new discoveries after a trip to Africa, including a bizarre glowing spider that left them baffled. Take a look at this. This fluorescent glowing spider species was the headline in a slew of fascinating new critters and creatures discovered in Central Africa. A recent survey conducted by the Wilderness Project documented dozens of species, some previously unknown to science. Researchers say it is a previously unknown species of crab spider that glows radiantly when exposed to ultraviolet light. As to why scientists say for now, they just don't know. There's a fun trend taking flight this spring, especially in New Brunswick. Hundreds of households buying into something unexpected, porch geese. Laura Brown reports.
When Jenny Scott ordered 50 metal geese, she wondered if she made a big mistake. Would customers flock to her greenhouse?
And they went so fast, and then we had to start compiling a waiting list of people, and I think that grew to almost 200 people.
Guess who's back again. The garden center released this video when they were able to get restocked, and they called the 200 people on the wait list wanting their own goose.
Yeah, people were very aggressive about the geese. Yeah.
Aggressive, just like geese can be.
That's right. Yeah.
So what makes these so-called porch geese so popular? An employee dug into the history, finding it dates back to the 80s.
It was a thing, and more in the southern states. They used to be out of cement, and people would dress them up, create their own little outfits for them. And apparently, it kind of went out of fashion.
Not anymore. It's not clear why, but the geese have made a fashionable return to porches everywhere. This is Tilly, who's having a spa day at her home in Grand Lake, New Brunswick. And you might recognize this one, Queen Charlotte of Bridgerton fame. The garden center has outfits as well, but they've been selling out of those too.
I feel like it's hilarious, and people need something to smile about every day.
You can find them on porches, but also all over the internet these days. There's even a Facebook group, Porch Goose Club of Canada.
I can't explain it. It's just it's a geese. It's a geese itself.
Popping up on porches with people flocking for more. Laura Brown, CTV News, Lincoln, New Brunswick.
That's our time tonight. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. I'm Lauren Stallone. Have a great weekend.